Hello guys, Lit here. So in this video I want to share some additional tag or setup for the Raven Flocks. And this setup is not exclusive for Leech. You can also use this if you use Raven Flock on other Ascendancy. And most of this tag is for clearing. It's going to make your clears better. And the single target DPS, it helps a bit, but I don't think it made that much of a difference. But I mean, extra DPS is extra DPS, right? So let's get through all of that. The first tag that I want to share is repulsions, and this is not a new thing. People have been using it since the early league. So basically, repulsion is a curse that when you apply it to the enemy and the enemy get hit, it will consume the curse and it will explode. Now, this basically create a mini explosion from the curse itself. Now, if you put this on Blasphemy, and my Raven Flocks does have a Blasphemy setup, you basically can reapply this repulsion constantly. And every time your minion hits or any form of hits will trigger the curse, and you will have the mini explosion here and there. So the repulsion basically going to give you a mini explosions. Now for Leech, we have Necromantic Conduit, and the thing about Necromantic Conduit is it's not only applied to your allies, it's also applied to you. And repulsions is based on your attack. Now we don't scale any attack, but if you see on the repulsion wave, we do have a good amount of chaos damage coming from this. And this is because of Necromantic Conduit. Now the damage is not super great because once again we don't really scaling any attack, but it's good enough to clear like the white monster or like even the magic monster. So this is one thing that you can use to improve your clear. Now there's more that we can do with this one, which is we can add living lightning to the repulsions. Now repulsion is dealing physical damage, and living lightning only trigger when you have lightning damage. And the way I get the lightning damage on the repulsion is by using Greater Storm Rune, which basically give you 10% damage as extra lightning. And with this rune, your repulsion now deal lightning damage and therefore able to trigger the living lightning. Now you have bunch of living lightning going around help you with the clear. And of course for Leech Ascendancy, this minion from the living lightning also get the benefit from Necromantic Conduit, so they end up dealing decent amount of DPS. Like once again, this tag is not really going to give you like crazy amount of DPS, it just help you clear along the way. So that is the first tag, using repulsions and then combining that with living lightning and a source of damage extra lightning like Storm Rune or anything else that you can find that you can put on your gear. And the second one is because I'm using Wolf Pack with minion stability and infinite legions, this wolf basically going to die all the time, and including my Reaver and also my Sniper, because this is just to give you a little bit more mana regen by the Essence Harvest and also boost the master damage. But because we have a lot of minion die like this, we can use Castle Minion Death, and you can use any kind of spell that you want. Now the important part about the spell that you use on Castle Minion Death is mostly we're not going to use this for damage but for utility. So for personally, I'm using the Castle Minion Death to cast a spell that help me generate living lightning. The more living lightning you have, the more small guy that's going to go around help you clearing it, right? So I tried a bunch of spell, and this is a few spell that I think is the best to trigger that. The first one is Bitter Death, and Bitter Death is really good because it will consume the corpses, it will spawn like bunch of blue balls going around seeking enemy, and when anybody hit, it will summon the living lightning. The downside of this one is you need corpses, and we don't really have the sacrifice to use our own minion and all that stuff, but for clearing this is very good. And the second one that I found is kind of good is also Bolt Lightning. Bolt Lightning, basically you shoot out bolt of lightning around, and every time that bolt hit, you can summon the living lightning. And Spark is also pretty good. It have a very great coverage. It can go all over the place, although it can be a bit random. Two spells that I've personally used is Detonated Living. Whenever you cast this on the target, if the target is under the current strike threshold, it will explode. And the explosions is based on cost maximum life. And this line is really important because we don't have any scaling on spell, any scaling on attack. So having a spell that already have like a huge amount of base damage, because the base damage is based on the cost of maximum life, the Detonated Living basically deal a significant amount of DPS, especially when you combine them with the Necromantic Conduit. The downside of the Detonated Living, of course, is not very consistent because the explosion only happen whenever you hit an enemy in the Callisto threshold. Now, as far as I'm testing this, I think it's auto aim at the enemy that met the cooling threshold first, so that is a priority. If it doesn't find that, it will fire at any enemy. So that's the reason why I like Detonated Living. It helps you clear, it gives you a little bit more explosions. For me personally, I like this one. This one feels good to play, although I cannot really explain to you like why it's good. Like on paper, I probably will go for Bitter Death. It's just like you can see it working. It's just a great way to like chill a bunch of enemy, also summon bunch of living lightning. But Detonate that is something that I try and I just kind of like it whenever I have them. So you can choose between late on death or bitter death. You can use both of them, but you will need a significant amount of runic ward to be able to cast all of them, because even with just one, I'm constantly running out of runic ward because I don't have that many. And the second spell that I'm using is Entangle, and this is, I think, the best spell of all the spells that I try to trigger living lightning. So entangle basically a spell that you're going to create like a fissure, and the fissure basically going to spawn like a vine that's going to hit an enemy, and every time it hit, it will spawn a living lightning. And entangle so far is very consistent on creating the living lightning. So entangle is one spell that I will highly recommend to do. This one is really good at summoning the living lightning. And for the support gem that I'm using is Ultimate Omen. You don't really have to do this, but the Living Lightning level basically based on the spell that triggers it. It doesn't affect by your plus minion on your gear or anything like that. It's just based on the spell that triggers it. So in this case, the Entangle is level 23. So the Living Lightning also will level 23. And this support will give you a +2 level whenever the skill only supported by one support gems. And Detonated and Entangle only supported by Living Lightning. And the cast on minion only supported by the bonus energy. So all three of these get the benefit of +2 level. And the cast on minion, the higher the level, the more energy you gain when your minion die. And that is basically the cast on minion. That is pretty good for clearing. I tried out. It feels very good for clear. And the next one is a suggestion from the comment section from my previous video. So shout out to Ollie himself. He made a comment that you can use Skeletal arsonist to trigger the Archon of Undead. And I tried out, and it is a lot better than Sniper because, like as you can see on the screen, I don't have any other minion, and I still can use the command skill. And whenever you use a command skill, you still casting them even though there's nothing that explode. So you basically can keep spamming this until you get the Archon of Undead. Now, the 15% is still 15%. Sometimes it's just refused to trigger, but at least with Arsonist, you don't really need any cooldown recovery because whenever you don't have a target, this skill just basically refresh back up. So you basically can keep spamming this until you get Archon of Undead. And this is, I think, a better way to spawn the Archon of Undead. The downside of this is explosive demise actually costs quite a lot of mana. And this explosive demise cost me 357 mana, and that is with efficiency. So that's a bit of a downside, but considering the upside that he give you, you can just spam this until you get Archon of Undead. This is a really good way to trigger the Archon of Undead, and that's going to make your life a little bit easier. So that is the 3 tags that I want to share today, and hopefully this is useful. So once again, just to recap, repulsion on Blasphemy with Living Lightning, with any source of damage as extra lightning like Storm Rune here, will give you a mini explosion and also Living Lightning that help you with clear, and also cast on minion dead if you use the Wolf Pack that basically kill himself to generate your mana regen. You can use Cast on Minion Dead to cast you some spell to help you trigger Living Lightning. In my case, I'm using Detonate Living and also Entangle, but Bitter Death is also not bad of a choice. So that's basically it from me today. And as usual, if you guys have any questions, just leave in the comment below. I will try my best to answer it. And thank you everyone for watching. I really appreciate it, and I will see you on the next one.